Coming up next, a deep dive into a sensational rock trio, maybe the best ever, who came of age in the punk era in the late 70s. By 1983, they were the biggest band in the world, including their top 5 songs of the 1980s. This next on Professor of Rock. Hey music junkies, Professor of Rock, always here to celebrate the greatest artists and the greatest songs of all time. If you dig classic rock, classic pop, you're going to want to subscribe below. We're always celebrating the best of the rock era every single day, daily content. And you can also check us out on Patreon. We have a lot of extras there. And your support there helps us so much. More videos, more interviews. The link is below. I'm excited to talk about this next band, The Police. I mean, they featured 3 of the most resoundingly distinctive musicians of the entire rock era. Sting at lead vocals and bass, Andy Summers at lead guitar and backing vocals. Of course, Stewart Copeland is the drummer and backing vocals as well. There's no question they're one of the greatest bands ever, and Sting is a legendary vocalist and lyricist. I mean, the voice of Sting is a carefully sculpted art form. It's fascinated us since the Police had their big breakout in '78 with Roxanne. Sting has this gifted ability to sing full throttle high notes with complete clarity and emphasis without the need to burst into falsetto. That's just unbelievable to me. Just one of the many aspects of his vocal style that makes him one of the greats. When you're talking about the most influential drummers of all time, I mean, Stewart Copeland, he learned the importance of rhythm at a really early age. He was exposed to a variety of musical genres related to the different cultures that he experienced as a child. His father was a CIA operative in the Middle East and an accomplished trumpeter, as I understand it. Stewart's mother was an archaeologist, and she often took him with her on adventurous trips to Egypt and Syria and Lebanon. I mean, if you can imagine that. Stewart Copeland was an innovator in the way that he fused reggae funk with that raw power and speed of punk. He did that in his drumming style, so unique. He was a genius with the use of the hi-hat, making it more than just an accent instrument. And he enhanced the musicality of the snare drum. There's no doubt about it that Stewart Copeland's unique musicianship is what gave the Police their exceptional sound. He's also a coveted film score. And then there's Andy Summers. I mean, he's rarely given his due for his contribution to the Police sound. For Andy Summers, it was his expertise at using modulation and delay effects, and the way that he created tones with his guitar chords that strengthened and sustained choruses. And he was also a good singer. I mean, he sang lead on several Police songs, including Friends and Mother, and Someone to Talk To. Someone to talk to talk to. Someone to talk to. Great song, go check it out. It's about divorce, as I understand it. Like all the prolific bands throughout history, though, the sum is greater than the parts. Every player adds an ingredient that creates that flavor. Besides enormous talent, the 3 members of the Police had humongous egos, which fed their fame and their termination as a group. Sting, Copeland, and Summers were very different individuals who came from different generations. Of course, Sting took control of the band as the principal writer and media magnate. And Copeland and Summers felt more like Sting's employees there at the end instead of bandmates. The trio is very well known for their many battle royales behind the scenes, with insurmountable tension erupting when the Police were at the pinnacle of their success, as arguably the biggest band in the world by '84. And they ruled really the first half of the '80s with 3 albums that are no doubt about it classics of the pop canon. In '84, though, Sting followed his burning desire to go solo, and the Police were history. The Police were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2003, performing a short set together at the induction ceremony. And then in 2007, the threesome did manage to hold it together for an international reunion tour, but that tour hung in the balance virtually every day of the 151 gig excursion. The personality conflicts that dissolved the band hadn't gone away, and there would be no discussion of a follow-up. Now, the Police didn't have the longevity of other supergroups, the Rolling Stones, U2, Rush, Led Zeppelin, or the tenure of, say, the more contemporary power trio Muse, who still going strong after more than 25 years together. But to put time in perspective, Sting has been a prolific solo act for over 36 years now. His time with the Police is less than 20% of that career span, and it's shrinking by the year. Like Sting, Stewart Copeland and Andy Summers have recorded twice as many albums as they did while they were members of the Police. But listen, the impact of the music that those three artists created as the Police has endured far beyond their relatively short 7 years as a unit, no question. It may have been a contentious 7 years for Sting and Andy Summers and Stewart Copeland as the Police, but man, we are eternally grateful for all of the amazing songs, the amazing artistry that they gave us while they struggled to stay together, earning an exalted place as one of the most important acts of the entire rock era. Having said that, here's my Police fiver from the 80s. We're going to cover the 70s down the road. It's just too tough to fit it all in. First, I want to do an honorable mention. When the world is running down, you make the best of what's still around. Written by Sting from Zenyatta Mandata, the band's third studio record. This is the record that propelled the Police into the 80s and escalated them into supergroup status. There is worry in Sting's social commentary, but when the world is running down is bleak without being overly serious or preachy. Andy Summers created a very cool chiming guitar effect that invigorates the song's bridge. I love it. I could do 1,000 honorable mentions. I mean, seriously, these guys are so great. Number 5, originally from the 1982 soundtrack adaptation Brimstone and Treacle, Burn For You. The hauntingly seductive heat of passion enacted by Sting and the Police. The arrangement of I Burn For You is the epitome of amorous infatuation. It's one of the most intensely passionate songs Sting has ever written. Now that I have found you, and the cool of your evening smile, the shade of your parasol, and your love flows through me. Though I drink at your pool, I burn for you. I burn for you. The track was initially submitted to be included on Zenyatta Mandata in 1980, but it was ultimately felt to be too much of a departure for the Police and was rejected. I Burn For You was placed on the back burner until it was resurrected for Brimstone and Treacle after the breakup of the Police. Sting included I Burn For You in his solo concert set. Actually, you can find some recorded live versions of I Burn For You on several Sting albums. My personal favorite is the live version on his Bring On The Night set. It's really great. The song might be even more obsessive than Every Breath You Take, and that's really saying something. Number 4, Don't Stand So Close To Me from Zenyatta. The subject matter, of course, very taboo, but Sting has never been afraid to push the envelope with the themes of his songwriting. I mean, we're definitely going to cover his solo career as well. Don't Stand So Close To Me is a scandalous tale about a female student fantasizing about being with her young teacher and the teacher sharing that same lustful desires for the student. Fighting temptation and frustration. The solution is for the teacher to maintain, good old social distancing, begging her to please don't stand so close to me. Now, Sting derived the taboo subject matter from the 1955 novel Lolita by Vladimir Nabokov. Quite a few pop songs actually reference Nabokov, but we'll talk about that another time. He actually references the lyrics in the song. Now, before his international fame as an artist, Sting was actually a school teacher, instructing English, music, and soccer at St. Catherine's Convent School. Back then, his students referred to him by his surname, Mr. Sumner, Gordon Sumner, of course. Although he was a teacher, Sting insists that the lyrics for Don't Stand So Close To Me is not based on any personal experiences. As with many compositions by the Police, the arrangement for Don't Stand So Close To Me took many twists and turns that included more sophisticated attempts, such as starting the track with a Hammond organ. But actually, the band decided that an uncomplicated approach was better, and they stuck to their basic musical elements to put the song together. Now, a lot of you probably know this, but for those of you who don't, the Police rejoined briefly in '86 with the intention of recording some new material, but the only song they actually released from that was a new version of Don't Stand So Close to Me, titled Don't Stand So Close to Me 86. The 86 version was a much different interpretation with an arrangement that featured, a slower tempo, an altered chorus, and more studio processing, while the original waters down the intensity of the meaning, with that playful music. The 86 version pulls no punches with a much darker musical feel. I love both songs for different reasons. Stewart Copeland had a broken collarbone at the time that he suffered from a horse riding accident, I guess, and he was unable to play the drums. So Copeland wanted to use his Fairlight CMI to program his drum section. Sting defiantly wanted to use the synclavier for the drum section. The two ended up going back and forth over several days, deleting and re-recording each other's drum patterns. Fairlight versus the synclavier argument was the kind of dispute that, of course, the police were infamous for. The synclavier proved too difficult to program, as I understand it, and the drums on the recording were ultimately programmed on the Fairlight CMI. Don't Stand So Close to Me in 86 really had moderate success. It made the top 30 in the UK and Canada and some surrounding countries, but the American audience was lukewarm to the reworking as the single stiffed at 46 on the Billboard Hot 100, whereas the original version of Don't Stand So Close to Me was a worldwide smash. It hit number 1 in Spain, in Ireland, and the UK, and went to the top 10 in America. And the original version also won the Grammy Award for Best Rock Vocal Performance by a Group in 1981. Number 3, the massive international phenomenon, Every Breath You Take, from the Police's 1983 swan song album, Synchronicity. Sting composed Every Breath You Take in 1982 while suffering from what he called a mental breakdown during the disintegration of his first marriage. Even though we've all heard Every Breath You Take thousands, if not millions of times. Since its release in 83, it comes across as a touching love song. But Sting really wrote the tune while feeling jealousy and seeking ownership of his soon-to-be ex-wife. A lot of people have used that as their wedding theme and got really mixed up when they know what it's really about later on. Every Breath You Take reflects the severe mood that Sting experienced between his career success and his marital failure. It's a song about internal strife, disguised in a gentle soft rock caress. Although he was not given a song credit, Andy Summers created the guitar riff for Every Breath You Take. Summers recorded his guitar part that was inspired by the work of composer Bela Bartok, and only one take, with a 61 Fender Stratocaster. There's no question that that guitar line makes the song, one of the things for sure. Every Breath You Take didn't sound like anything else on the radio at that time, and it rocketed to number 1 in 6 countries around the world, including the UK, where it held the top spot for 4 weeks. The Billboard Hot 100, it was number 1 for 8 weeks, and the Billboard Top Rock Tracks, it was 9 straight weeks. It was the best-selling and most played single of 83. It's the 5th best-selling single of the entire 80s, and it's easy to understand why. The song is truly entrancing and just gorgeous musically. Lyrically, it's really easy on the ears with its descriptive rhyming. It's so hypnotizing along with the music, it just kind of flows through your mind like a nursery rhyme. Everybody knows every single word still, even still. Every breath you take. It was nominated in 3 major categories at the Grammys in '83. It won the award for Song of the Year and Best Pop Performance by a Duo or Group with Vocals. About the only one artist that year that could compete with Michael Jackson Thriller in that record-breaking year. Oh, and in 2019, Every Breath You Take became the most played and performed song in popular music history, surpassing You've Lost That Love and Feeling. Number 2. King of Pain, another brilliant, amazing track from the epic Synchronicity album. Really, so many great songs on that album. King of Pain is Sting's dark and eloquent harbinger foreshadowing the imminent dissolution of the Police. The lyrics of King of Pain, including the title, are symbols of the anguish Sting was feeling at that moment. The line, "There's a little black spot on the sun today," was taken, literally, from actual words spoken by his soon-to-be second wife, Trudy. When the couple was just sitting under a tree in Jamaica and watching the sun setting in the western sky, Trudy observed that there was just this little black spot on the sun today. She said that. Sting paused before acknowledging what Trudy had said, and he said, "That's my soul up there." Amazing. After Sting uttered those tortured words, Trudy said, "Oh, there he goes again, the King of Pain," thus coining the phrase that the song would be named after. Sting reenacted that real-life scene on the recording of King of Pain with a verse echo of "That's my soul up there," of course, and that pregnant pause in the middle of the song. There's a little black spot on the sun today. There's a little black spot on the sun today. It's the same old thing as yesterday. And then the song leaps back into the chorus. I mean, it's obvious the King of Pain is a deeply personal song for Sting. The track is just full of gloomy symbolism, and subsequently, it is an emotional number for the band. And then there's Wrapped Around Your Finger. I mean, so many great songs. In addition to performing the drum parts on King of Pain, Stewart Copeland played the xylophone in the first minute of the song. Sting plays the piano part while Andy Summers delivers a somber guitar solo in the song's bridge. King of Pain was the fourth single from Synchronicity, climbing to number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100, number 1 on the mainstream rock chart, number 17 in the UK, and number 1 in Canada. The song continues to grow in stature and evolve musically with new levels of despair added in every live performance. Number 1 from the 1981 album Ghost in the Machine. Every little thing she does is magic. An endearing new wave ditty about a nervous, hapless chap with an unshakable attraction to a girl he has dedicated his existence to pursue. Sting references that the life of this poor, unlucky soul before his obsession was tragic. Despite having a big enough umbrella, it's always him that ends up getting wet. I've always loved that line. It's actually repeated not only in the fade out of the song, but again in Sting's solo career. He said it in 7 days from 10 Summers Tells at the end of that song. Anyway, the arrangement of Everything She Does Is Magic cleverly evokes a feel-good spirit beyond rooting for the song's affable hero. It's such a fun song to jam to, but apparently was not an enjoyable experience to record in the studio. Every Little Thing She Does Is Magic was originally constructed as an acoustic ballad when Sting wrote it back in '76, before the Police were formed. Every little thing she does is magic. It's actually the first song demo that Sting ever played for his bandmates, but they sat on it for years. It's interesting. In early '81, Sting began to create a new demo of the song at a studio in Montreal, enlisting the skills of Canadian keyboardist Jean Roussel. The record company loved the demo and enthusiastically encouraged the band to record the song for the forthcoming album. When the Police got around to recording for Ghost in the Machine, it proved to be an extremely challenging song for the Police to arrange. They tried to construct the song in nearly every style imaginable, but it just wasn't coming together. One morning, a very frustrated Stewart Copeland told Sting and the production team to put up the demo and just let him play along with it. And allegedly, Andy Summers did the same thing with the guitar part, just following along with the demo. The simple approach worked, and they finished the track. That's all it took, apparently. Sting's vocal on Every Little Thing is outstanding. I mean, you can hear the hopeless romanticism, the exuberant head-over-heels affirmation of perfect love in every sung word. It's as if, Sting is really the only person that can sing that song, really. Every Little Thing She Does Is Magic was the second single from Ghost in the Machine. It rose to number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100, a number 3 hit. It went to number 1 on the mainstream rock chart. It climbed to number 1 in the UK, in Canada, in Ireland, and the Netherlands. In the 80s, the Police really could do no wrong. Their musical output in both songs and albums, stuff of legends, and they continue to amaze new listeners who are discovering these songs every day. Spirits in the material world indeed. We'll definitely cover more about this band in the future and Sting solo. Leave us a comment about the Police below. What is your Police fiver? What memories are tied to those songs? You can get this shirt and their music at our Amazon links below, including their box set. If you like our content, subscribe below. Click on the Zenny link too for the pair of glasses that I'm wearing. Hit us up on Patreon for more content. Help us keep the music alive. Until next time, 3 chords and the truth, my friends.